Namaskaram. My name is Vivekananda. Literally, it means wisdom and happiness. I believe in living a simple life. I believe in thinking differently. I am proud to share my belief with Steve Jobs and Leonardo da Vinci, who said, simplicity is the ultimate in sophistication. Through this YouTube channel, I aim to bring time tested wisdom and happiness together into your business and life by unifying, simplifying, amplifying technology, nature, and yoga. The name of my YouTube channel is Tech Nature Yoga. My hope is to bring clarity to people who are in the so called West and are looking for some guidance. Even if you are in a different part of the world, you might still find my effort worthwhile because much of today's world is, as it is called, westernized. I feel that it is my responsibility to share my understanding of karma, and I want to craft my destiny myself. Now, wouldn't you want to do the same? So, hopefully, this series will help you with that. Um, that is the reason why I have started this series of YouTube videos. I want to understand the concept of karma properly myself and share it with as many people as possible. I find it particularly important because of the worldwide situation that we are presently living in. So many conflicts, so many uh, misunderstandings, or okay, let's say what it is, wars going on and potential more wars can happen. So yeah, um, a discussion on karma is, I in my opinion, is very important. So I hope to be useful in some way. My aim here is to facilitate discussion so that we all gain deeper understanding. Now, what do I expect in return? Well, hopefully you'll like the video and subscribe to my YouTube channel. The easiest way to contact me is through my website, wake-technology.com, where you will find multiple ways to reach me. Now it is time to introduce ourselves. Please note that our audience may come across any episode of this series, and then hopefully they'll go on to watch the rest of them, hopefully. Because of that, these introductions need to be repeated in every episode. I have actually seen some people pre-recording this stuff and adding it, but when you actually watch the video, you'll see that there's a jump, and because they're wearing different clothes,
Right.
uh, the environment is different, and so it feels that you can see that it is pre-recorded, and so no, I don't want to do that. So anyway, I have introduced myself at the very beginning, so it's time for my guests today to introduce themselves. I shall call out each of your names, and please unmute your microphones and introduce yourselves. So I would like you to limit yourselves to 1 minute each while answering the questions you see on the screen. First question may need some explanation for those who are new. The question I want to be answered is, Why do you do what you do? I hope I have answered why I do what I'm doing in my introduction. So, lots of people have heard about Simon Sinek and his world famous talk about why.
Mhm.
So, I shall put a link to that talk in the description of this video on YouTube. So, I would like to spotlight each of you one by one. So, I'll stop the screen share and here we go. Stop the screen share. Okay, who would like to go first? Nidyaka?
Okay, so I have started a YouTube channel called, sorry. So I have a YouTube channel called Science of Spirituality.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there's a problem with my video. So the Science of Spirituality. And the reason I have thought of doing that is because a lot of people give up on spirituality because they they think that there's no science behind it and it's not true, it's all scam.
Mm,
There are scammers in that field, yes, like in any other field, but there is definitely a science behind spirituality. And if you are, it depends upon who you are getting your learning your spirituality from. And if and I am trying to prove that there is a science behind it, and there is.
mm,
So if not by labs, I'll try to get to labs and get the results from there. But if not from labs, by sheer number of people, just by people's experiences, because that is also empirical evidence. If
mm,
people's healths are getting better, which can be recorded, or just by seeing how groups of people are benefiting from spirituality, then and if they are, then there is definitely a science behind it.
mm,
And so I'm trying to prove that, because I think spirituality is such a big need in today's world, because people are just giving up on it and thinking it's not working. And that's why, and they are, because spiritual development is a part of your entire human, like, development.
mm,
You can't just leave that aspect aside. And when you do, life gets very difficult. And it because it's a need, you need it.
mm.
So yeah, science of spirituality for that reason. And
Best way to contact you?
best way to contact me is through my channel. There is an email address which is called a yogis word 11 at gmail.com, all one word. That's, yeah, that's the way to contact me. And if the what's the next question? Sorry.
Yeah, you have already mentioned the YouTube channel. So, yeah, you have answered. Yeah.
Okay. I will try to get my video working.
No problem. We are all learning anyway. So, there is there's no end to learning. So, we keep learning. So,
Yeah.
okay, Loveland.
Well, greetings. This is Lowland speaking from Canada's west coast on Vancouver Island. I came to this group because I'm inspired by Sadhguru's work and his approach, and also because Vivek and I have mutually supported one another for years, and I think it's getting close to 15 or more years.
Yes.
Where does the time, where's the time go? How does that happen? So I spent my whole career helping people decide what they should do, first through career counseling and then through business and career coaching. Today, I'm enjoying my retirement through study and discovering how to support Canadian Indigenous people as we all move toward reconciliation. And where can you find me? Well, I would send you to my arcticcarvings.com website. You can find me there.
Okay. Now we have done our introductions. Normally, as per the structure that I always have, I play a pre-recorded video. I video record my presentation in advance so that I cover exactly what I want to cover without missing any important aspects. And any mistakes I do, I need to not waste your time correcting those mistakes. So I correct them myself and present you the pre-recorded video. So that's the whole idea. So let me start sharing the pre-recorded video, which I managed to record just a few minutes ago. So bear with me, there may still be some things which escaped my editing. So, Karma, a yogi's guide to crafting your destiny. Let us study chapter 4. Sadhguru gives several sutras. Sutra literally means thread. Each of these sutras hold a pearl or gem. So, we would all do well to make note of these. So, here is Sutra 4. Let me read it out for you. However profound it is, everything that comes from memory spells karmic bondage. As an Indian, or Bharatiya, as I would like to call myself, after reading this 4th chapter of the book, here are some points that hopefully will help everyone. These are not from the book, but I thought these are essential to understand this chapter, in my opinion. So, please keep these in mind as you watch the rest of this video. It is an integral part of Hinduism that we believe we are born and reborn endlessly until all our karma is spent. Whatever we do in this lifetime, we carry forward our karma into our future multiple lifetimes. The ultimate aim of every Hindu is to attain liberation, also known as mukti or nirvana. It is not God or heaven as other religions believe. First section of the book is called the categories of consequence. Sadhguru reminds us the membranes of memory he talked about in the previous chapter. So, just to refresh, this slide is from the previous episode, episode 4, where we went through chapter 3 of the book and looked at 8 different membranes of memory. As mentioned before, 4 of these, the ones on the left side shown in light blue, are collective memory, and the ones on the right shown in yellow are individual. In today's chapter, Sadhguru looks in detail and in depth at the individual membranes of memory. Behind every individual is one vast storehouse of karma, the sum total of accumulated memory, in Sanskrit termed sanchita. We carry this enormous volume of information with us all the time. The quantity might vary, but every human being carries this phenomenal karmic inheritance. At this point, let me remind the viewers, and this particular aspect is my own understanding, and Sadhguru does not say this as such. This sanchita karma is what we carry through our multiple lifetimes, through rebirth and so on. From the vast storehouse of sanchita, a segment of memory ripens. It surfaces and comes to the fore, demanding immediate action. This is our allotted karma. Every human being has a certain allotment of karma for a lifetime, called as prarabdha karma. It is the karma that needs to be handled now. The rest continues to remain latent and unripe in the vast storehouse of accumulated memory. This allotted karma contains two aspects. Let us call them actionable karma in the present and actionable karma in the future. So, your current lifetime is a certain allotment of karma, a distinct amount of memory playing itself out. The nature of this allotment varies from person to person. For each person, the life energy works differently. Each person has a different percentage of energy dedicated to physical activity, a different percentage to intellectual activity, a different percentage to emotional activity, a different percentage to energy activity, and a different percentage to the capacity for meditativeness or inner stillness. Now, every spiritual process is essentially about digging into the storehouse of accumulated karma. Spiritual practitioners are people in a hurry. They want to dig up as much as possible and work it out, rather than wait for each allotment to ripen in its own time. This is why so much of the spiritual process is action oriented. Spiritual seekers want to handle 10 lifetimes of karma in a single lifetime if they can. The spiritual journey also teaches them to avoid accumulating new karma and to limit the consequences of their allotted karma. In this manner, they work through large karmic volumes at great speed. Hope you remember the 3 points in my own notes. I am showing the same slide again just to refresh your memory. We are born and reborn endlessly until all our karma is spent. We carry forward our karma into our multiple lifetimes. Most importantly, ultimate aim of every Hindu is liberation, mukti. We now come to another aspect of allotted karma. This is actionable karma in the present, or karma that compels outward action. We cannot resist its power. There are many impulses and propensities in a human being, but not all of them propel us to external action. How you handle your externally actionable karma in the present is significant because it creates consequences for the future. When some trigger compels action, how consciously you perform that action becomes important. If you do it unconsciously, that unconsciousness will generate an enormous amount of karma. And that is how karma perpetuates itself. Here is where the idea of good karma becomes important. You can alter your future simply by performing the right kind of actions in the present. You can transform your future without any spiritual process, without any elevation in the consciousness. When you perform the right actions today, a positive future is assured. But if you become meditative, you go a step further. Every spiritual tradition has encouraged people to meditate for this reason. When you become meditative, you do not merely create positive karma, you stop breeding karma altogether. In all spiritual traditions, to become an ascetic means just this: you stop breeding karma consequences. Your unconscious action today, in terms of thought, emotion, or action, will lead to consequences that compel your actions tomorrow or a year later, or some would say even a lifetime later. In other words, no matter what you do, life will drive you into a place where you have to act. It is actionable karma in the future that perpetuates the human cycles of compulsive action, leading to what the Indian spiritual tradition sees as cycles of birth and death. You do not want to accumulate any karma that will compel you to act compulsively in the future. Let us now move on to the next section of the book, and it is called From Being to Doing to Having. The human equation was always meant to be like this: to move from being to doing to having. This means we were never meant to act in order to find fulfillment. Fulfillment was seen as an inner condition. It could not be pursued externally. We act in order to express our fulfillment, not to acquire it. We act in order to celebrate our inner completeness, not to pursue it. For most people, however, this simple equation is reversed. Most people do in order to be. They act because they feel incomplete. This action is prompted by a desire to acquire something or to enhance their identity in some way. This is the ancient hunter-gatherer impulse which still endures in human beings. It is a need to act in order to accumulate, whether it is physical, emotional, or intellectual satisfaction. It is action impelled by a desire to augment themselves, to become more than what they are. They act in order to have. They have in order to be. Now, let me take a few seconds to explain my call to action. I hope you find it useful so far. So I request you to like this video. Please subscribe to my channel at Tech Nature Yoga and hit the bell icon so that you can customize the notifications you get when I upload a new video. Okay, now I want to bring in a short video clip from Sadhguru's YouTube channel. This is a very funny, humorous story. In this story, Sadhguru talks about how to be a human being, and in his usual style, he narrates a Shankaran Pillai story.
Did you know Shankaran Pillai had children? He had children. It's a sweet secret. Okay. So one day, Sunday, Shankaran Pillai met his three sons and told them, "You good for nothings, do something good in your life. If you do good things will come back to you." Yeah. Accent अच्छा है? So, these kids were something. They said, "Father, what are good things? How to do good things?" Such a thought had never occurred to them. How can we do good thing? What is a good thing? They asked. He said, "At least help a old woman to cross a street. At least that much good you do." So they left. In the evening they came back. So Shankaran Pillai asked, "Did you do any good thing?" He asked the eldest son. He said, "Yes, father, as you said, I helped an old woman to cross the street." "That is wonderful, my boy." He asked the second son. He said, "I also helped an old woman to cross the street." He thought, both of them? Maybe they were two old women, all right. He asked the third son, he said, "I also helped an old woman to cross the street." He said, "All of you found three old women to help them across the street today?" They said, "Who is talking about three?" All of us together, we helped one. What, it takes 3 young boys to help one old woman to cross the street? No, even we three were not enough. You know our cousin Ramu, we also took his help. He asked, "What is that? To help a old woman, 3 of you and Ramu also?" Said, "Yes, you don't know how stubborn this old woman can be." She did not want to cross the street. We held her by the 4 limbs. So, a lot of good things are being done in the world. A flower is not thinking of giving fragrance to you. It has no such intention. A tree is not thinking of giving oxygen to you. No such intention in its mind. The earthworm is not thinking of making the earth fertile for your crops. No such intention in his head. He has no head. But whatever they do, they're doing good things. Yes or no? Whatever they do, whichever way they do it. If they eat, they're doing good things, if they shit, they're doing good things. Isn't it so? Because they're just being themselves. They're living according to their nature. So they don't have to think of doing good things. Only because human beings are not living according to their human nature, they have to think up good things. And they think of these good things which are unbearable for lots of people. So, this is not about you doing good things. If your humanity flowers, what is needed will anyway happen. Like if a flower blossoms, you don't have to tell it, shoot the fragrance in the air. It will anyway happen. Nobody can stop it. Whether somebody is there to appreciate the flower or nobody is there, still the same fragrance will come. When you come more, when you do not come less, no such thing. All the time, on. So, a couple of weeks ago, we put you on bhakti sadhana, the way of devotion. Devotion means just that, that's how you are. You're not acting it up when you see one particular person. Sadhguru, like this, somebody else, This is an act, this is not going to work. Just becoming like that. Becoming like that, not by training, by digging little deeper. If you dig deep enough into this, that's how this is. If you live on the surface, you have to act like how somebody else says is a good way to be. There is no good way to be. There is a human way to be. If you overflow with your humanity, divinity has to descend, it has no choice. If your humanity is constipated and you're trying to be good and good, good is not going to work. Good is not good.
The one thing that human beings simultaneously suffer and cherish is memory. You try to acquire and freeze memory in order to acquire an identity. You are trying, therefore, to do in order to be. But neither your identity nor your memory is essentially about you. When you are sitting in a cafe drinking your cappuccino, you can enjoy only your $4 worth of coffee. Whether you have $10 billion in the bank is irrelevant. The money exists only in your memory. To carry money around in your memory means you are a creature of the past. If you base your future on your past, you are as good as dead. The next section of the book is called The Causes of Unease and Disease. People in civilized society carry a great deal of unexpressed emotion within. Now, if emotions never find full expression, the energy can turn around and become deeply damaging to one's health and well-being. This accounts for the upswing of depression and mental illness across the world. It is said that 1 of every 5 Americans suffers from some form of psychological illness in a given year, and 50% will suffer a mental ailment at some point in their lives. A staggering statistic. The problem is that civilized society regards the uninhibited expression of emotion as a sign of weakness or lack of sophistication. The suppression can create untold havoc in the human system. I would say 90% of the people in the world never find full expression for their emotions. They are afraid of their love, their joy, their grief, everything. To laugh loudly is a problem. It is seen as non-genteel or unladylike. To cry loudly is a problem. It is seen as unrefined and indecorous. We have set up a deeply restrictive culture for ourselves. Now, the major portion of your allotted karma is devoted to physical activity. The body remains the major source of identification for most people even today. So, though the ratio varies from person to person, 90% of the time allotted karma is oriented toward external action. One fallout of inactivity is disease. Trapped energy can also cause physical restlessness and agitation, which accounts for the state of chronic unease and disquiet that plagues the modern individual. Let me take a few seconds to explain my call to action. I hope you found it useful so far, so I request you to like this video. Please subscribe to my channel at Tech Nature Yoga and hit the bell icon so that you can customize the notifications you get when I upload a new video. This is a sadhana, a tool or device that Sadhguru provides in the book. Let me read it out for you. If you are experiencing deep emotional stress, a simple practice is to remain as far as possible in a posture where your spine is erect. The lumbar region in particular needs to be relaxed and stretched to activate the spine. If you are able to squat for lengths of time, this is particularly beneficial because the extension of the spine has a profound impact on psychological well-being. A natural upsurge of energy will happen if you keep your feet together when you squat. But not many people can do this. So, the next best option is to widen the distance between the feet when you squat, keeping your feet in line with your shoulders. Make sure your feet are firmly upon the ground. This is not just an exercise. The spine is not merely a collection of bones. It is the very basis of communication and perception within the human system. Keeping it in optimal condition will not just revitalize and rejuvenate the body, but will make a phenomenal difference in your mental and emotional life and the way you function. There is a more comprehensive 7-step practice called the Yoga Namaskar, which is offered free of charge on the Sadhguru app. isha.sadhguru.org/app. This is a powerful process of activating and strengthening the spine and the muscles alongside it. So, as one ages, the spinal system does not collapse and the nerves are not pinched. If there is already spinal damage, this is a good way to regenerate the spine and ensure all-around benefits for the entire body. This is also a more scientific approach to unblocking emotional impasses in the human system and promoting what we call Chitta Vritti Nirodha, the liberation of consciousness from fluctuations and bottlenecks. I thank the viewers who have been watching. Since you have been watching so far, it means you are getting some value out of this video. So, let me take this opportunity to request you to like this video. Please subscribe to my channel at Tech Nature Yoga and hit the bell icon so that you can customize the notifications you get when I upload a new video. The book is available in multiple formats and multiple languages: English, Hindi, German, French, Spanish, Italian, Russian, etc. It is also available in multiple formats such as paperback or electronic books such as Kindle or audio formats from Audible, where Sadhguru himself reads the book. You would find the links to these in the description of this video on YouTube. It is time for our discussion. Here are the main topics we covered in the presentation, so let us discuss them. I'll paste them in the internal comments in the Google Meet so we can refer to them. I'll also let the screen shared for a few more seconds and then stop screen sharing. So let me copy paste these in the comments. Yeah, who would like to start off, please?
I think
Well,
you will end.
Well, I can say that this was a chapter I had difficulty with.
Mm-hmm.
It all seemed so complex, I guess, maybe. However, when if I were looking at the last item there, the causes of unease and disease, I think if one looks at their own personal experience, it's not very hard to discover why that happens. I can remember a time in my early career, for example, that I suddenly started having dizzy spells, and it took a long time to discover what that was, but it was stress.
Oh.
And it took me a couple of years to discover how to deal with that stress. And so it seems as though my conclusion about all of that would be about suppressing. That if we suppress things in our what's going on in our emotions and so forth, then that becomes a very dangerous thing to do. Yeah.
And what do you think of the three aspects of rebirth and all that sanchita karma? And
what do I think about that? I struggle with that. That's not the tradition I was raised in. And the concept of rebirth is something that I've given lots of thought to. I don't know that I don't know where I stand or what I believe or what on that. It's a constant discovery process, I guess, for me. The concept is very foreign to the way I was socialized and acclimatized and so forth. So, however, I mean, I'm thinking though that a lot of what Sadhguru was talking about, for me anyway, doesn't really depend on believing or not believing that. a lot of what he talks about applies to my life right now. So, but there are many ways to, like, at the end of your presentation, you talked about some of the yoga poses that you could do to release energy, etc., from your body, and I have certainly discovered all of those really do work. So, and I learned a long time ago that meditation is a very important part of being able to maintain any kind of balance, internal balance. So, I mean, that's so I'm saying that all of those things apply to present life, whether you're going to be reborn or not. I would like to. I mean, I find it very interesting, but I don't know what to do with that. Yeah.
It does, in my view. Nidyaka, I think she's still trying to sort out something. So,
No, I'm fine.
okay, yeah.
I was just trying to plug my laptop because it was going out of battery charge. So, no, this was a really interesting chapter, and I'm really glad that I am a part of this, that I could hear, I could listen to this chapter. I'm trying, I'll try my best. Already, I have a big yoga schedule, but I will try my best to include Yoga Namaskar, because I definitely don't have a very straight spine. I work on my posture. What he says makes sense. And Loveland about rebirth, the evidence is there, because I have thought about it for getting it in my channel. The evidence is there. There's a Netflix documentary on this. I can't remember the name of it, and I can give you the name. There's a Netflix documentary, and it's about children who remember their past births. And the only thing is that, people could argue that they're lying, or they have been taught by their parents for the sake of publicity. But I would have a slight argument against that, especially in the West, you would not get publicity for something like that. The West, especially in the West, you would not. In a place which is spiritually inclined, like India or any of the Eastern countries, there you will get publicity for things like this, but not in the West. And those in that documentary, most of those children are all of those children are from the West, and as they grow up, they forget. They talk about things. I remember there was a child who would always just talk about fighter planes, aeroplanes, and all that, and planes crashing and all that. And so his mom tried to deviate him slightly by not telling him not to do that, but by telling him, draw flowers. Why don't you draw flowers? So he drew a field with flowers in it and a plane crashing in the field. So, and then they found out whatever name they had given him, it was by chance, that's not the case for other children, but by chance, the name that they gave him was also his name in his past life. And he was a fighter pilot. He had dropped the bombs in Japan. He was an American. So most of these cases were from America. And he had dropped a bomb in Japan when Japan was being attacked by America. And then his plane was crashed. I don't remember very well. It was a long time ago. I saw that documentary. and he had a strong fear of planes crashing, and there was some trauma remaining in the child as well. So there was this, and there were lots of other cases as well, and this mother was like a fun lady, and she was like, oh, whatever, I don't know what he's talking and whatever, I'm not going to pay too much attention to what he's saying. But yeah, so he was saying things that otherwise he wouldn't have known if he had some leftover memory from. So sometimes the memory doesn't erase itself, and there was a child who told his mother that anyway, I probably should go into that many details. But yeah, I mean, I wouldn't think that these children would really lie, because there's no other reason why would they. Anyway, I don't know what else we were talking about. The causes of each. So, what categories of consequence? The Sanchit karma, is that what?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, probably it is true. If everyone's saying it, it is true, and everything else is making a lot of other things are making sense, then it is should be. This was a great chapter, actually. I really liked it. Yeah.
In my view, as I was creating the presentation, I found that some of the things were in the I felt that if they were presented in a different order, it would have made much more sense. So I mean that's where I think Loveland feels that it's a bit complex and convoluted, or because the way it has been presented is a little bit things like that he talks about that allotted karma and all that, and two parts to it. He mentions them in the beginning, but then he explains them a bit later. So it could have been done in a slightly different way to make it more easy to read. But yeah, I guess the other day I was watching some YouTube video where it's an author who gets into some social media trouble. It's a as per that movie, it's a famous author who gets into social media trouble because she wrote something in an article, and she was expecting the editor to point it out. But then in that I'm talking about that movie. In that movie, there is another person who says that, look, you have been such a famous author and all that. The editor is not really going to point out these things to you, because the editor is kind of scared of you. They don't want to point out that this needs a bit more work, or should say it in a different way. They're not going to say that to you. As you become more popular, this is going to be the situation. So I see maybe that's what has happened here. I don't know. I'm just the editor could have pointed that out and put those things in easy to read manner. But anyway, but the thing is, all the concepts are there. It does need a bit of reading over and over again. So that part is there. Yes. So that's where I agree. with the lowland saying, yeah, it's a bit tough
Yeah.
chapter to understand. Yes.
Yeah.
Also, this concept is not easy to get. I mean, something I really enjoy karma, knowing about karma.
Mm-hmm.
It's not something that's really, if someone asks me to talk about karma, I won't be able to say things because I don't, in spite of hearing it over and over and over and over again and reading about it, I still won't be able to talk about it because it's a difficult concept. There's a series recently released on Sadhguru exclusive
Mm-hmm.
about karma.
Mm-hmm.
So I was watching that. But I just feel like if I keep watching it over and over and over, every time I would get something new from it. Such a really difficult concept. It's not an easy concept anyway.
Mm.
Very
Yeah.
true.
Yeah.
I was curious about the being, doing, having. I was trying to I mean, the story that you put there, that was kind of put everything backwards, sort of. But the way I guess the way I ended up interpreting that was, if the most important thing is being, and it sort of reminded me about being able to just be with the moment, and to do what is only required by the moment, or what's going on right now, being in, and not pulling memories and not pulling all kinds of other stuff in, but just evaluating what the current situation really is, and being with it. That was the closest I could get to trying to apply all that to one's own life.
Yeah, I agree. I was trying to find out, look for other videos. I do remember him saying, explaining that concept in greater detail somewhere else, but I'm not able to find it. In one of his talks, he does talk about being. I mean, your life should be an expression of the way you are, and the way you are is actually happy, content, fulfilled. That's what you are. But all these other external things will make you feel that you're not happy, make you feel that you're not complete, make you feel that yeah, I'm trying to find which video is explaining all that, but yeah.
I can try to elaborate on it. I think I have seen that video that you're talking about, and I've also I think there is a quote. I don't remember who talked about it. I think Sadhguru has definitely talked about it, but there are other people as well. And in that, there's a quote which I can't speak in Sanskrit. I can try to speak it, but I will obviously say it wrong. So Krishna says to Arjun, so yoga something guru karmani, which is first establish yourself in yoga and then go out in the world and do your karma. So it's not the opposite way. Don't do your karma and then think about yourself. So first establish yourself, first make yourself strong from inside, not just outside, also outside, but not. So first, when you are strong from inside, then whatever you do, and outside, when you are a strong being or fulfilled being or a joyful being, then whatever you do will find expression of that, and you will do it correct and well and spread happiness anyway, because that's inside you. But if you are not yourself strong and fulfilled and happy and joyful, whatever you do, you'll actually ruin it. So that's what it is. So first you be the being that, like, this is strong, fulfilled, emotionally fulfilled, I don't know, all in all ways fulfilled. And then when you go out in the world and do something, it will automatically, it doesn't matter what you do, whatever you do will be fine. So, but we do it the other way. We first want to do something in order to have, so that we want to have those things so that we can be, so that we can become something. But it should be first become the right thing.
Mhm.
Then whatever you do, and you will have things anyway, because it will be a consequence of who you are, who you have become. And yoga was not just for, like, yoga, when Krishna says yoga, it's not just doing their physical exercises. That's a part of it. But yoga means union. So you become in union with the cosmos. And when you are in union with the cosmos, then you are at your best. Then you would just shine.
Mhm.
So, yeah. That's what I remember.
It has been a great discussion, but we have overshot the time by about 15, 17 minutes. Anyway, we have come to the end of the episode today, and next week we shall discuss the next chapter of the book, which is entitled "How Did It All Begin?" So see you next week. Until then, namaskaram to all my relations.
Namaskaram to all my relations.
Namaskaram to all my relations, and thank you for a great session.
Yeah, right.